This tutorial will go over changing modes in the smart clicker and changing the battery. This is dedicated to just the operation of the smart clicker. In another tutorial, we'll show you how the smart clicker interfaces with the app. So I have the smart clicker here, and it's already connected to the app on my smartphone. If I press the right button, there'll be a click that comes from the app, and if there's a feeder attached, it'll go on and trigger the feeder. So if I press this button, I'm getting a signal that goes from the smart clicker over to my phone, and then if there's a feeder, it signals the feeder as well. That's the right hand button. The left hand button has other functions as well. One of those is to change modes. So I'm currently in the manual mode, which means if I press the button on the right, it will send a signal to do a feed to the feeder. If I press the button on the left and hold it down, I'll change modes from manual to tilt mode. Let's do that. Hold the button down. This takes a few seconds, and you'll see it's flashing purple to indicate now that it is in the tilt mode. That means if the unit is moved, it will trigger the feeder. Now, there is a delay after each trigger, as we often use this when we put it in a toy for a dog to bump. So if the dog bumps the toy, we don't want them hitting it several times in a row and getting a lot of treats. So they have to hit it once, then go over to the feeder, and then it's ready to trigger again. Now every time it's moved, it will trigger the feeder. I can return that to the manual mode by the same technique. I just press and hold the left button. This time the LED is going to flash blue, indicating that it has returned to the manual mode. So that is switching between the tilt mode and the manual mode. That's all done with the left button. And now I'm back in the manual mode, so I can press the right hand button and trigger as normal before. Now if I want to change the batteries, I rotate the smart clicker on its side, and I'm going to pull the bottom part with a bump to the left and the top part to the right. And I'll pinch, and you can just bend a little bit to release. There's a lock, and it snaps loose, and you'll see inside now we have a spare battery in the bottom. There's a little pocket for the spare battery. It sits right there. This is a CR2032 battery. They're very common batteries. Now if I want to change this battery, I can take the bottom half. You'll see these little prongs. These were designed, we call those the battery pushers, so we can push the battery out of the unit. It only comes out in one direction. You'll notice there's some little metal holders for the battery on one side. It only goes out in this direction. And note the plus sign. I'll mention that in just a minute. So we're going to take the little pusher and push the battery out with that until I can grab it with my fingers, and now the battery is out. There are two sides to the battery. There's a plus sign on one side, and you can see there's like a little circular button on the other to put it back in to replace that. So if this battery were discharged and I wanted to get my other battery, I would take it out of the spare battery compartment. I have the plus sign up, and I'm going to put that into the unit in this direction. Again, it's removed from the portion of the little battery holder that has the curve on it. So you want to always push it out and put it back in this direction. Now I'm ready to put it back together, and in the same way I line these up so that these little, you'll see the little prongs there, they catch in little pockets on the bottom portion. See the little pocket there? I want to put those prongs down in that, and it's offset just a little bit. Get that smooth so everything is flush. Hold it together with your fingers, and now push the two halves together, and now it's snapped back together. So that's changing the battery and switching modes between manual and tilt.